I didn't lose James during the vows. I lost him when I laughed. He set his boutonniere on the altar and walked out. Now I'm 31, living in my childhood bedroom in Columbus, scrolling through photos of James's new wedding to Nicole. The caption reads, "When you know she's the only one in her heart, everything else falls into place." The comments are all directed at me without saying my name. "So happy you found someone who puts you first." This is what a real partnership looks like. No toxic third wheels in this marriage. But let me start from the beginning. Back when I thought I could have it all. The perfect husband and my best friend, who just happened to be my ex. I met James at a tech conference in Cincinnati 3 years ago. He was presenting some software his company developed, and I was there representing my marketing firm. He wasn't my usual type. Tyler had been all leather jackets and motorcycles, while James wore button-downs and drove a sensible Honda. But there was something about his stability that drew me in. After years of Tyler's hot and cold games, James's consistency felt like coming home. "I don't usually do this," James said, approaching me at the mixer. "But would you like to have dinner sometime? Somewhere that doesn't serve conference food?" His nervousness was endearing. Tyler never got nervous. He just took what he wanted. I said yes, partly because he was cute in that Clark Kent way, mostly because I was tired of waiting for Tyler to commit to anything beyond hanging out. Our first date was perfect. James made reservations at this intimate bistro, asked thoughtful questions about my work, and actually listened to the answers. When I mentioned I loved butterflies, he didn't laugh or call it childish like Tyler would have. Instead, he told me about the butterfly conservatory at Franklin Park and offered to take me there for our second date. I liked the attention. He kept me on a string and I let him. It made me feel important. "I should probably tell you," I said over dessert. "I'm still really good friends with my ex. Tyler and I dated for 4 years, but we're better as friends. He's basically like my brother now." James paused mid-bite of his tiramisu. "Oh, okay. How long have you been broken up?" "About 6 months. But honestly, we'd been more friends than anything else for the last year we were together. The romantic stuff just fizzled out." What I didn't tell James was that the romantic stuff only fizzled because Tyler refused to commit. That I'd begged him to move in together, to take the next step, to stop treating me like an option. That I'd only ended it when he drunkenly hooked up with some girl at a bar and told me I was being dramatic for caring since we weren't even that serious. "As long as you're over him," James said carefully. "I've been in situations where someone wasn't really done with their ex. It's not fun being the rebound." "Totally over him," I assured him. "Tyler and I are just friends. You'll see when you meet him. There's nothing romantic there at all." James smiled, relieved. "Good, because I really like you, Madison. I see potential here for something real." The thing is, I meant it when I said it. I thought I was over Tyler, but habits are hard to break, and Tyler had been my habit for 4 years. James and I fell into an easy rhythm. He'd pick me up for dates right on time, always had plans made, never kept me guessing. After months of Tyler canceling last minute or showing up drunk at 3 a.m., James's reliability was intoxicating. Within 3 months, we were exclusive. Within 6, he was talking about our future. "I think you should meet Tyler," I said one evening as we cooked dinner in James's apartment. "He's such a huge part of my life, and you're important to me. I want my 2 favorite guys to get along." James tensed. "If that's what you want, when were you thinking?" "Actually, he's having a barbecue this Saturday. Very casual, lots of people. It would be the perfect low-pressure setting." What I didn't mention was that I'd already told Tyler all about James. Every date, every milestone, every sweet thing James did. Tyler's responses were always the same. "Sounds boring," or "That's cute, I guess," or "Bet he doesn't make you laugh like I do." Saturday arrived, and I spent 2 hours getting ready. "It's just a barbecue," James noted, watching me change outfits for the 4th time. I know, I just want to look nice. What I really wanted was for Tyler to see what he'd lost, to realize I'd moved on to someone better, to maybe feel a little jealous. Tyler's backyard was packed when we arrived. He was holding court by the grill, telling some story that had everyone laughing. When he saw us, his eyes swept over James dismissively before landing on me. "Maddie, you made it!" He pulled me into a hug that lasted a beat too long, his hand resting low on my back. "And this must be Jason." "James," James corrected, extending his hand. "Right, sorry, man. Maddie's told me all about you." Tyler's handshake looked more like an arm wrestling match. He called James man all night on purpose. "Beer's in the cooler. Maddie knows where everything is. She practically lived here for 4 years. I felt James stiffen beside me. Throughout the party, Tyler found ways to remind everyone of our history. "Remember when Madison did this? Remember that trip we took? Hey, Maddie, tell them about that time in Vegas." Each story was a carefully placed dart, and James was the dartboard. "Your ex is kind of a jerk," James said on the drive home. "He's not usually like that. He was probably just nervous meeting you. Guy code and all that." I reached over to squeeze his hand. "Don't worry about Tyler. You're the one I'm with." But I didn't delete the text Tyler sent later that night. "Your new boy seems uptight. When you get bored, you know where to find me." As James and I grew closer, Tyler seemed to need me more. He'd call during our date nights with emergencies. His car broke down, he was too drunk to drive, he needed advice about some girl. And I always answered, always helped. James would sit across from me at dinner watching me calm Tyler down over the phone, his jaw tight with things he was too polite to say. I could have sent it to voicemail. I didn't. I could have muted him. I didn't. "I don't understand why he can't call someone else," James finally exploded after the 5th interrupted date. "He has other friends, doesn't he?" "He does, but I'm his best friend. I can't just abandon him because I have a boyfriend now. That's not how friendship works." "Madison, he's not your friend. He's your ex who won't let go." "You're being jealous for no reason. Tyler and I are done. I'm with you." "Then why is his picture still your phone background?" I looked down at my phone, at the photo of Tyler and me at the beach last summer. "I just haven't changed it yet. It doesn't mean anything." James saw Tyler on my lock screen and the necklace Tyler gave me. He went quiet. He didn't argue. He didn't need to. We both knew what it meant. But it did mean something. Just like it meant something that I still wore the necklace Tyler gave me for our anniversary. That I kept his hoodie in my car. That I compared every moment with James to how things had been with Tyler. When James proposed a 1.5 years into our relationship, my first instinct was to call Tyler. I called Tyler before my mom. That says enough. "Guess what? James proposed," I squealed into the phone, staring at the 2-carat solitaire. "That was fast," Tyler said. "You sure you're ready for that?" "Of course I am. James is perfect. He's everything I wanted you to be." There was a long pause. "I should probably tell you, I've been thinking about us lately, about how good we were together. Maybe we gave up too soon." My heart stopped. After years of waiting for Tyler to want commitment, he was finally saying the words I'd dreamed of. But I was wearing another man's ring. "Tyler, you can't say things like that. I'm engaged." "To someone you've known for 18 months. We had 4 years, Maddie. That has to mean something." "It meant something. Past tense. You had your chance." But his words planted a seed of doubt that grew with every wedding planning session. James wanted a traditional church wedding. Tyler and I had always talked about getting married on a beach. James wanted a live band. Tyler played guitar and would have sung to me himself. Every decision felt like choosing James over Tyler, even though Tyler wasn't even an option. "I think Tyler should be in the wedding party," I announced one evening as we addressed invitations. James looked at me like I'd suggested inviting his dead grandmother. "You want your ex-boyfriend in our wedding?" "He's my best friend. It would be weird if he wasn't included." It would be weird if he was. Madison, this is insane. No one has their ex in their wedding party. Fine, I snapped. But he's definitely invited, and I want him at the head table. The head table is for the wedding party and immediate family. Then maybe he should be in the wedding party. We went in circles for hours. Finally, exhausted, James agreed Tyler could attend as a regular guest. But I don't want him making a toast or being in any of the formal photos. Deal, I said, already planning to sneak Tyler into a few pictures. As the wedding approached, I found myself texting Tyler more and more. Every time James and I disagreed about something, I'd vent to Tyler. Every sweet moment with James was immediately shared with Tyler for his opinion. I even sent Tyler photos of my dress options, despite tradition saying no man should see the dress before the wedding. This one, Tyler had texted back about a form-fitting mermaid gown. It reminds me of that white dress you wore to my company party. You looked incredible that night. I bought that dress, even though James's sister said it was too sexy for a church wedding. The bachelor and bachelorette parties were the same weekend. James went to his brother's lake house with his college friends. I insisted on Miami because Tyler had never been and always wanted to go. Isn't it weird that Tyler's coming to your bachelorette? My sister Emma asked as we boarded the plane. He's my best friend. Why would it be weird? Because he's a guy, and your ex, and you talk about him constantly even though you're marrying someone else tomorrow. You're being dramatic. That night in Miami, with drinks flowing and inhibitions lowered, things got complicated. Tyler was the life of the party, making all my girlfriends laugh, being the perfect Instagram boyfriend, taking all our photos. After the other girls went to bed, Tyler and I stayed up talking on the balcony. You know I love you, right? He said suddenly. Not in love with you anymore, but I love you. As a friend. I love you too, I said, and in that moment I wasn't sure which kind of love I meant. James is lucky. I hope he knows that. He does. Does he, though? Because if you were mine, I'd never let you have a guy best friend who looked at you the way I do. How do you look at me? Like you're the one who got away. We didn't kiss. Nothing physical happened. But something shifted that night and we both felt it. That's how I slept that night. For 2 weeks I was a mess of nerves. Not normal pre-wedding jitters, but deep anxiety about whether I was making the right choice. James noticed my distance. What's wrong? You've been weird since Miami. Just stressed about the wedding. There's so much to do. Is that all? Because if you're having doubts, we should talk about them. No doubts, I lied. I can't wait to marry you. But I was having doubts. Not about James. He was perfect on paper, kind, successful, devoted, ready to give me the life I'd always wanted. My doubts were about whether I could really let go of Tyler, whether friendship was enough, whether I was choosing safety over passion. The night before the wedding, my phone rang at midnight. Tyler. Again, I answered. I can't sleep, he said. Keep thinking about tomorrow, about watching you marry someone else. Tyler, please don't do this. I'm not trying to ruin anything. I need you to know that I'll always regret not fighting for you, not being the man you needed me to be. It's too late for regrets. Is it, though? It's not too late until you say I do. I hung up and turned off my phone. But I couldn't turn off my thoughts. The morning of the wedding, as my bridesmaids helped me get ready, I kept checking my phone. Tyler had texted, "Whatever happens today, I want you to be happy, even if it's not with me." I should have blocked him. I didn't. You look beautiful, my mom said, adjusting my veil. James is going to cry when he sees you. Has anyone seen Tyler? I asked. I want to make sure he's here. My sister and mom exchanged looks. Madison, today is about you and James, not Tyler. I know that. I just want to make sure my best friend is here for my big day. I walked down the aisle to Canon in D, smiling at the 200 guests packed into St. Mary's Cathedral. James stood at the altar, tears streaming down his face just like my mom predicted. He looked handsome in his black tuxedo, so steady and sure. Behind him, his groomsmen smiled encouragingly. But my eyes were searching the crowd for Tyler. I found him in the 5th row, and our eyes locked. He gave me a small, sad smile that made my heart skip. The ceremony began beautifully. We made it through the opening prayers, the readings, the unity candle. Then it was time for our personally written vows. James went first, pulling out a folded paper with shaking hands. "Madison," he began, "from the moment I met you, I knew you were special. You've taught me that love isn't just about finding someone you can live with, but finding someone you can't imagine living without. I promise to support your dreams, to be your partner in all things, to give you my whole heart without reservation. You are my only, my everything, my always." The crowd awed. A few people wiped away tears. Then it was my turn. I'd written my vows weeks ago, but standing there, looking between James's hopeful face and Tyler in the crowd, different words came out. "James, you came into my life when I needed stability. After years of uncertainty, you showed me what it meant to be chosen every day. You're everything Tyler wasn't: reliable, committed, ready for the future I always dreamed of." A murmur went through the crowd. James's smile faltered. I should have stopped there, but the words kept coming. "With Tyler, I never knew where I stood, but with you there's no guessing. You're not the bad boy who made me cry, you're the good man who dried my tears. Where Tyler was chaos, you're calm. Where Tyler ran from commitment, you run toward it. You've shown me that real love isn't about passion that burns out, but it's steady and it lasts." I said Tyler's name 5 times. I heard people shift in the pews after the 3rd. The church was dead silent. James's face had gone from confused to horrified. His brother whispered urgently in his ear, but James just stood there, staring at me like he'd never seen me before. Father Michael cleared his throat. "Perhaps we should continue with the rings?" But I was just getting started when Tyler stood up and yelled, "I object! Kidding!" Every head in the church whipped around to Tyler, who was standing with his hands in his pockets, that cocky smile I knew so well plastered on his face. "Tyler, what are you doing?" I gasped. "Sorry, couldn't help myself. It's just such a cliché line, you know. When will I ever get another chance to dramatically object at a wedding?" He laughed. "Relax, Jimmy, I'm kidding." James hates being called Jimmy. "I'm kidding, of course. Carry on. Just wanted to lighten the mood after that intense vow situation." A few nervous laughs scattered through the crowd. But James wasn't laughing. He was staring at me, waiting for my response. This was my moment to shut Tyler down, to choose my groom, to save my wedding. Instead, I laughed. "Oh my God, Tyler, you're so ridiculous," I said, shaking my head with fond exasperation. "This is exactly the kind of thing you would do. Remember when you interrupted that work presentation I was giving? He's always doing stuff like this, right, James? You just have to know how to handle him." James dropped my hands. "Just let them go, like I was something contaminated. Are you serious right now?" "What?" He was just joking. Tyler jokes around, that's what he does. You know that. "He just objected at our wedding, Madison. And you're laughing. Because it was funny. God, James, lighten up a little." "Lighten up?" His voice was deadly quiet, but in the perfect acoustics of the cathedral, everyone could hear. "Your ex-boyfriend, who you mentioned 5 times in your vows, just objected at our wedding, and you want me to lighten up? You're making this into something it's not." "No, I'm finally seeing something that's been there all along." James turned to face the congregation. "I won't marry someone's backup plan. I'm sorry, everyone, but there won't be a wedding today." Gasps rippled through the crowd. My mother half stood in her pew. James's mother was already crying. "James, stop being dramatic," I said, reaching for his arm. "Tyler was just..." "Just what? Just the guy you're actually in love with? Just the one you compare me to constantly? Just the person you prioritize over your future husband?" He pulled away from my touch. I've spent 2 years pretending not to see it, Madison. Pretending that your friendship with Tyler was normal. That it didn't bother me when you texted him during our dates, when you ran to him every time we had a disagreement, when you chose his opinion over mine for our wedding decisions. That's not true. You asked him about your wedding dress. You took him to your bachelorette party. You just defended him objecting at our wedding instead of standing by me. How is any of that appropriate? Tyler had sat back down, suddenly realizing his joke had gone too far. The church was so quiet you could hear the candles flickering. You're overreacting, I said desperately. Tyler and I are just friends. You're the one I'm marrying. No, James said, pulling off his boutonniere and setting it on the altar. I'm not. He turned and walked down the aisle, his groomsmen scrambling to follow. The church erupted in chaos, people talking, my bridesmaids rushing to my side, his family hurrying after him. But I just stood there in my $12,000 dress, watching the man I was supposed to marry walk away. Madison, honey, let's go to the back, my mom said, trying to guide me away from the altar and the 200 pairs of eyes staring at me. He'll come back, I said numbly. He's just upset. He'll cool down and come back. I kept saying he'd come back. He didn't. I taught him not to. Tyler texted once. I'm so sorry. I thought he knew I was joking. Do you want me to come over? I didn't respond. For the first time in 4 years, I didn't want Tyler's comfort. The next few days were a blur of humiliation. A guest posted the clip. 236,000 views by morning. Bride mentions ex 5 times in vows, groom walks out, went viral on Reddit. People I'd never met were analyzing my relationship, calling me delusional, saying James was a hero for having self-respect. James moved out of our apartment while I was at my parents' house. He left my things neatly boxed, my engagement ring on the kitchen counter and a letter. Madison, I loved you with everything I had, but it was never enough because your heart had a permanent resident. I hope you and Tyler figure out what you actually want from each other. I'm done being collateral damage in your unfinished love story. James. I tried to salvage things, sent flowers to his office. They came back, waited outside his building. The doorman had been instructed not to let me in, wrote letters explaining that Tyler meant nothing. My letter came back stamped, "Return to sender." Our mutual friends picked sides quickly. Turns out, they'd all seen what I refused to acknowledge. We heard how you said his name. James heard it too, my college roommate Sarah told me. 3 months after our non-wedding, I was still living with my parents, still unemployed after leaving my job in shame, still checking James's social media obsessively. That's how I saw her, Nicole, the new marketing manager at his company. Blonde, petite, with a smile that reached her eyes in every photo. Their relationship moved fast. Within 6 months, they were Instagram official. Every post was like a directed message to me. When there's only us in the room. Tyler and I tried to make a go of it because what else was there to do? We'd blown up my life for this unfinished story, might as well write the ending. But the chemistry that had seemed so important paled compared to what I'd lost. Tyler was still the same commitment-phobic man-child he'd always been. It wasn't passion, it was dysfunction. Within 2 months, we were done for good. I think I was more in love with the idea of you wanting me than actually wanting you, I admitted during our breakup. Yeah, well, I definitely didn't want to be the reason you nuked your wedding. That was supposed to be a joke. Who knew James was so sensitive? But James wasn't sensitive. He just knew his worth. Something I learned too late. The real knife twist came when James and Nicole got engaged on the 1-year anniversary of our failed wedding. They got married at the same church. His brother posted about it. So happy, my brother found someone who knows what she wants, and who she wants. No ghosts in this relationship. Their wedding was last month. Small, intimate, only family and close friends. The photos that leaked showed James looking at Nicole the way he used to look at me, before I trained him to expect disappointment. In their vows, they mentioned no exes, because secure people don't need to. My mom sent me one photo from their reception. James and Nicole on the dance floor, his arms around her, her head on his chest. The caption from his cousin: "This is what it looks like when you're someone's first choice." I'm 31 now, back on dating apps with a reputation that precedes me. "Aren't you the viral wedding girl?" matches ask. "The one who laughed when her ex objected?" Some think it's funny, others unmatch immediately. Tyler's engaged now too, to someone he met at CrossFit, someone who never knew him when he was my everything. She probably has no idea she's getting the commitment I spent 4 years begging for. He's engaged to a woman who doesn't know my laugh. Lucky her. I still have my wedding dress. It hangs in my childhood closet like a $12,000 reminder of the day I had everything, and threw it away for a joke, for a habit, for an ex who was never worth losing a future over. Sometimes I put it on and wonder what would have happened if I'd just said, "Tyler, sit down and shut up," when he objected. If I'd chosen my groom over my past just once. But I laughed. And in that laugh, James heard every truth I'd been too cowardly to speak. That Tyler would always be my reflexive first thought. That our entire relationship had been a consolation prize. That I was marrying him not because he was my first choice, but because my first choice wouldn't choose me. The wedding speech that ended everything wasn't even a speech. It was a laugh, a reflex, a revelation that some patterns are too deep to break. Tyler taught me to accept crumbs and call them a feast. James offered me a banquet, and I complained it wasn't the junk food I was used to. Now I eat alone, scrolling through photos of the life that could have been mine if I'd just loved the man who loved me more than I loved the one who didn't. The speech wasn't my vows. It was the laugh. He wanted to be first. I kept making him second. He left. That's the truth.